Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my review for this month's issue of the Walking Dead comic book series. That is for issue 175. This one is part 1 of 6 for New World Order. And spoiler warning as per usual if you guys have not read this issue for the Walking Dead comic book series yet. So this issue just hit yesterday, and sorry for not getting the review posted for you guys yesterday. I filmed the entire thing, and there was no audio. And then I was out of time. I had to go to work, and I'm like, shit, damn it! So that's you know, it happens. Even to the best of us, right? It happens to the best of us. You'd think, like, I don't get computer problems, right? But even I do, guys. It happens, right? It happens. So, part 1 of 6 for NWO, for New World Order. So this is an interesting kind of change for the Walking Dead comic book series, I want to say. Right from when we got to see the cover, you get to see the cover, and you've got the stormtrooper-suited Commonwealth soldiers, and we call them kind of like stormtroopers of the Walking Dead because just the way their armor looks, you know, they have like this, they're decked out from head to toe. They even have like visors, you know, to prevent like blood splatter from getting their eyes. They even, you know, they have pretty sweet weaponry. They have like bayonets, like knives on the end of their guns and everything to be able to kind of, you know, spear into the zombies that are oncoming. They're just like very advanced compared to what we've seen. Quite advanced, quite a bit more advanced than what we had seen prior. And in this issue, we finally get to kind of find out some information about the group and you know, about how they were able to kind of put together these suits, and a lot of what we probably thought we were going to see, we did see. With regards to finding out some things about this group, it looks like they have developed, you know, a lot of things. They have a huge community. A couple of big takeaways from this issue. Number one, I would want to say is the amount, the sheer numbers that this community has is unlike anything we've ever seen in The Walking Dead before. When they brought in a larger world, right here's the poster, larger world, right? There was a big shift in The Walking Dead. We went from having groups of maybe a dozen up to maybe 100 to combining a whole bunch of groups and then getting a group like the Saviors, which is like over 100 in the TV series anyway. And in the comic book series as well too, it was a little bit over. So you know, you're going from a different scale. You start off your scale like a dozen. You know, as you go through, you know, Woodbury and this kind of thing, you get up a little bit higher, and eventually we get into the hundreds. But now with this group, we're starting to see a group that is well advanced, pretty civilized from the looks of things based on what we're seeing here, and we get the count that apparently, according to Lance, they have approximately 50,000 or almost 50,000 survivors. I mean, that is absolutely huge compared to what we're used to for Walking Dead numbers. I mean, even Whispers and all the different communities and all the things that were happening with them, I mean, none of these are even can shake a stick or even close to a group that has established 50,000 survive. It's mind-blowing. So that was a big one there, and we'll get a little bit more into that afterwards. But then we had a really cool one where we got to see a lost board. So they have a board in the Commonwealth where people who are coming into the Commonwealth can see this kind of lost board. It's like a lost and found for people. And, you know, we end up finding out that actually one of the pictures there is, have you seen my mom, Michonne? And this one was really cool. So that's Elodia, her daughter, who I want to say, in terms of actual, maybe a flashback, we might have seen her in the comic book series, but she's actually been a character in some of the video games. So she's been there. She's Michonne's daughter. She's pretty young. From what I saw online, like 12 to 15, something like that. Maybe a little bit more now because we're into the zombie apocalypse a little bit through. But she should be a teenager, I would think, at this point. And, you know, it sounds like Michonne is going to be reunited with her daughter. So we're going to have to see what happens with that. That one was a really cool kind of reveal for fans of Michonne. You know, she's been in the series forever. She's suffered a lot. She's been through a lot of hardships. And for her, a lot of hardship. And for her to kind of be able to find her daughter again is really kind of surreal and really kind of crazy. So that would be, I want to say that was kind of, you know, our kind of big reveal at the end of the issue, which was really a cool one. So I like that one a lot. But the 50,000 one, so the 50,000 survivor one, this one's a little bit tricky for me, you know, and I usually like most things in The Walking Dead. As you guys know, I'm a huge Walking Dead fan, obviously, you know, and I like most of the direction The Walking Dead goes in. The 50,000 survivor number, to me, it doesn't feel right for Walking Dead. Like, it feels like you're meeting a group that feels surreal. So we'll have to see if everything that Lance is telling them is true, and that this group actually does have concerts and a stadium and play sports and things like this. If all this is legit, so far it looks to be. But the thing is it's just like it's such a drastic change from what we're used to. And I always kind of pictured, I've talked about this theory before in the channel, that the reason why we follow Rick's group is most likely because, Rick would eventually, that group would be a special group in the zombie apocalypse. They would be a group that would probably restart civilization. So, my kind of thinking was, we follow Rick's group, we follow the survivors all the way through, and eventually, they kind of are the group that sort of defeats the zombie apocalypse, Like, it's Rick's story, it's Carl's story after, they're the group that is going to master this and is going to survive on. They're the survivors, and they're going to, they're going to restart civilization. Now we meet a group with the Commonwealth that pretty much has already done that. They already have 50,000 people, well-established, huge community, like a city, really. Like a small city compared to real life now, right? Of survivors. They have advanced weaponry. They have advanced technology for zombie apocalypse, like manufacturing, things like this, being able to put together like a military where they have like squads. There's even like I mentioned here of a swarm, magenta swarms. So they have like certain zombie hordes kind of named and kind of everything mapped out. You have them kind of probably steering some away from them as well too. And it's just really surreal to see a group like that in The Walking Dead. To be honest, I don't think it fits in The Walking Dead. I really don't. Like, the princess, you could see someone like that. She's an interesting character because you could see an angle or a strategy with her where she's drawing attention for a group and she's kind of a trap. Like, you go and you meet her, she's kind of got crazy hair and crazy stuff and all your attention's on her, and then somebody ganks you, right? As you're like, giving her a chance, they gank you. She's meant to distract you. So there's a strategy there that makes sense for the world. And as silly as she is and crazy as she is, and there was some stuff in here talking about ding-dongs, and she says, LOL, you have armor flaps covering your ding-dongs. Are there zombies that go straight for your ding-dongs? So, she gets her kind of crazy line, and she's kind of nuts in this, as always. But as wild as she is, I almost feel like this Commonwealth group is even more so. They seem to be a group that does not... It doesn't fit in the way that I was thinking The Walking Dead was going to go with the future of the series. It doesn't fit with kind of the survival horror aspect of the series. It kind of sounds too good to be true, which usually means it is, but for all intents and purposes right now, it really looks like a group of allies. So we're going to have to see what happens with this. It's part 1 of 6. We're just getting started. Maybe it's all false. Maybe they are actually villains and they just don't look like it. But when you look at Lance Hornsby, who's the recruiter that they kind of meet in this issue, you got Eugene, you got his group of Michonne, and some of the others as well too, Sadiq, and just a few others made on that. They're going there. They're meeting with him. So they meet with him, and he's like, brushed hair. He looks like, if you went to a job interview, a lot like Deanna or Douglas from before, from Alexandria, but just a way bigger version of that. Way bigger. And I just can't help but think, like, what could Rick and the group have to offer this type of community when it has that kind of numbers? It's really crazy, and it really kind of changes the look of the world, because it kind of makes it feel like we're following Rick, we're following the survivors. They're having so much trouble surviving. They're having trouble, fighting off the governors and, Negans and, all the different villains, the Whisperers and everything else that's happening, zombie herds and all that. And then you have a group like this that's thriving, that looks to be having no trouble at all, and has actually systemized all this stuff to the point where they have like a separate military and not just like a small group of guys with guns. Like, they have a heavy-duty military that's all armored up, ready to go, has lieutenants and, all this kind of thing, like a whole chain of command, and just a very already kind of civilized, already kind of, overcome, I want to say, the zombie threat, for them. With that many people, I can't see them going down 100%. Just be, it's like, they're just at such a level. So it's a really different, way to go in The Walking Dead with this group. It's really strange. It, for me, it feels totally, because the thing is that, like, you follow Rick and you think, and this is basically the best thing I can compare it to. It's like you follow Rick, you follow the survivors group. You see them, they're struggling, but they're surviving, and this is the way the world is. It's very hard to live, and it's very hard to keep going. And then you meet somebody where it's like they've had no trouble at all. Like, they seem to be like, you think you're doing good, and then you meet these guys, and it's like, it's like your life has been so full of struggle and turmoil and all these things, and then this guy's got, like, gel in his hair and this kind of thing, and like gloves, and they're actually clean and everything. It's like, I just don't know, man. It's kind of like if you're the best at something, like we want to think that Rick and the others are like the best at surviving. Then you meet these guys and they're just like so, like, it's such a more advanced level that Rick and the others cannot even look at right now with that many numbers and everything else. Like, if let's say you're really good at something in high school, at a particular, or even a sport, if you go into athletics or something after you finish high school, then you either get out there in the real world, or you go to college, university, or let's say you become a pro athlete, and you think you're great at basketball, and then you go to college, and then let's say you get into a thing, and you're like the worst player on the team. You know what I mean? Like in high school, you're killing everybody, you're the best guy in the whole league, and then you go to college or whatever, you go to play pro ball or college ball, and you're like the worst guy there, and it's just like an ego threat. It's like a drop. It's like Rick and the others, they seem like they're the best. They're able to beat everybody, Negan and the Saviors and Woodbury, Governor, and all these other villains. And then we meet this group, and it's like, huh. And I thought we were doing pretty good, So there was kind of that for me here, where I got emotionally involved, and I'm like, how could this group, get to this level and make it look like it just looks so easy for them? The amount of numbers they have, everything else, it might not have been that easy for them. We'll find out their story in the future, but it just really has shifted the way I looked at The Walking Dead, and really shifted the way I look at Rick's group, Rick and the survivors group, to where it's like, this isn't the world. There's other people that are, have this huge community like this. How did this happen? So, I don't know. For me, it feels kind of out of place for Walking Dead. I am intrigued by it, though. I want to see what they do with it and what happens with the Commonwealth, of course, and where Kirkman's going with this one. After this many issues of the series, obviously, I have faith. I trust in Kirkman, right? I trust in Kirkman, and Charlie Adler did as well too. But his artwork is always awesome, and this issue was fantastic as always. So I'm just intrigued by it. I'm uncertain, and I feel it feels surreal for me to see a group like this that's doing this well. And I just don't know if it fits. It just feels so out there to me. It's like, what? They have how many people? How did they do that? And what's going to happen to the story now when you have a group like this? Rick and the others are all just going to want to go join and say screw it. So I don't know, man. Let's see where he's going with this one. It's pretty interesting, but oh man, that's a lot of freaking people. So let's see. So just to kind of cover each of the spots we got into here and kind of comment on it. So we had the cover, which is cool, the Stormtrooper armor and that whole bit. The jokey part with the princess, a part with some zombies that come in and they kind of start shooting them down, like I said before, and then the main group heads on further. We've got the stuff about Eugene asking for Stephanie. Lance Hornsby, who seems like a pretty nice guy, but at the same time, he's not too nice. Like, he lets him know if they don't play ball, then he will kill them all. He doesn't want to, but he will if he has to. Michonne lies to him and tells him that they're like, no one, it's just them, that kind of thing. And then, they go in to kind of seemingly join, but we'll see what happens with that. And Stephanie, and later on. So, a man survived by covering himself in blood all day. So that's kind of funny. That made me think of Nicholas from, Fear of the Walking Dead, which would be kind of cool if eventually he became a character in the Walking Dead comics, I think. So that was kind of neat and kind of cool. So that's what it is. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, obviously there's a little bit more to the issue than that, but of course you guys can read it for yourselves and get your own thoughts on it. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. In terms of score for this one, I usually love every issue of The Walking Dead. I actually am kind of uncertain about this one. I'm like, so I think I'll just give it a 7. I mean, really, it's Walking Dead as usual, but it just feels so different to me that I'm just kind of like rejecting it. It's like, I'm like, this doesn't seem to fit in the world that we've been in. Even though you have, Shiva the Tiger and some other crazy stuff going on through. But still, just a group like this, it's like, how did they manage to do this so easily? So I'm intrigued. I want to see what happens here, and I don't want it to make us feel like Rick and the others have just had a bad time and other people have had it so much easier than them, because that's not really how I want to feel. I want to feel like they're triumphant and they're the best at what they do, and not like they just happen to have a bad shake and had a tough time, and this other group is like thriving, so much more advanced, so much more ahead, could crush them easily with no trouble at all. So I'm just unsure. But anyway, let me know what you guys thought about it. How do you feel about this one? Did you feel like it's totally cool? I want to see Rick and the others join up with this group and everything be great and them live in this huge community of 50,000 plus people and join in with all that like. I just don't know, man. Really interesting stuff. If you guys like this review, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it, and you can do it. You can subscribe at the bottom. That's it for this video, guys. We'll see you again soon for another. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. We'll see you soon.